Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval Grim here, and welcome to another video. And I got Hush, and look, I know it's 1 star, it's not that great, we could have done better, but it is what it is. The only thing that we're losing for him being 1 star is not having access to the special tree. But other than that, I'm going to go into some gameplay with this dude and kind of a quick review of the character, more like how the character feels, because we can't yet tell how exactly he will perform if maxed out, because we don't even have literally any way to get the gears yet. But yeah, I'll give more thoughts on the specials and the passives afterwards and talk about them with the writing here and explain what all that stuff means. But for now, let's take a look at the gameplay, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Okay, so now getting into the actual fights. First up, I'm going to try and test out how Hush feels, how smooth he's to play, if he works properly, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a look at the Nemesis mechanic and how it stacks, how it works. Again, we don't have access to the special tree, but I don't think that's such a big deal. And we're going to have sort of salvation on Hush, so the power generation that you're going to be able to see and the power steals are not from Hush. That's put there for the purpose of more convenience in this fight. We got Dr. Fate for cheaper specials, and we got Arkham Knight Batman to make him more tanky. It's quite weird that his agility, I would have maybe put him as tech, because he's kind of utilizing technology. I mean, as far as weapons go in terms of technology to deal damage, I don't know, my dude, but we got at this point too many agility characters, and the XP capsules and the shards are not enough to go around. Okay, so far I've been able to notice that yes, the Nemesis stacks are going to work as the burning effect does, to the point where it will expire, but if you refresh your stacks, it will actually be able to not expire for the previous stacks as well. Like, it will refresh the cooldown for literally everything. And I've switched stances once as well. As I said, the way to put a cooldown on that is for them to disable your ability for a limited time. A thing that I don't like, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, is the fact that he doesn't knock down the enemy while he uses that special too, because by not doing that, he puts himself into a vulnerable position for some time, though the animation is quite quick, to be fair. Super move over here, it's got the same super move as Red Hood pretty much, so nothing too new or too different about this thing. His basic attacks are kind of part of it's Red Hood's basic attack hits, and part of it is something new when that they introduced with him, like the swipe down, for example. The swipe rights are also a little bit weird, but they work well. Like, don't get me wrong, the basic attack combo of this dude, like hitting a dude with a pistol in the head, I don't think you're holding a pistol like that when you want to hit somebody with it, my dudes. But yeah, other than looking kind of weird, they feel good. Like, his back of animation feels good, his block feels good, his basic attacks feel good. I don't think we will have any problem chaining combos with this dude in any regards. Engage the combo, special one in there. Special one animation looks fine. I like that it's got multiple instances of damage. It's got a decent duration, not too long, not too short. You can see me refreshing the Nemesis stack there on Robin. And we can't have Nemesis active on two different opponents, because it was still active on Robin at the time when I used the special one on Sonic Black Canary. But afterwards, as soon as I applied it to Black Canary, it switched to only one Nemesis stack active, meaning that the two stacks from Robin got depleted, or he just switched to display what was the current state of things. I don't know, it's kind of weird that it displays that thing even while the opponent is stacked out, even though they can't benefit from it. So here I was testing out some tag-ins, and look, we tagged him from a block, we tagged him into an enemy doing basic attack hits, and we were not interrupted. So it's safe to say that if that worked, pretty much everything else is gonna work here. Engage the combo here, another special one. Combo interrupting there. He's got a fast enough opener, and that's pretty much for Red Hood as well, so can't complain too much about that when it comes to combo interruption. special tune there, and there we go, there we go. See what I mean by exposing yourself when using that? I used that point blank in her face there, and because of that she was able to hit me. That's a problem that's like currently a thing with, and there's always been a thing with Speed Force Flash Special 3, where he even has a pose there, like he's flexing a bit on the enemy, and that kind of exposes him to taking some damage. So what we get from this one is don't flex or you might regret it, I guess. Over here I wanted to see about the Nemesis interaction. We're first going to tag out Wonder Woman because we're not gonna be able to have a smooth time against her shield. But yeah, here we have the Prometheum Sword, and the reason why I have the Prometheum Sword is because it will allow me to lock enemies into combat with me after using a special. So we can go all out and stack Nemesis stacks. So we have one of them. The second one. Going in for third one. Back off. Block that. Fourth one. There we go. Gonna back off yet again. Use this special 2 there. Re-engage the combo. Another refresh. It caps at 4 stacks. So far everything is working well enough.
You insured for beatdowns?
And I think here is where we lost the stacks actually, because I let it expire, and you're going to have to start back up from 0 stacks. If you change the stance, and I'll show you a little bit of that later, you're not going to lose the Nemesis stacks. They are going to stay up for both stances, no matter if you switch them in between. And the cooldown and the expiring of the stacks, it's not going to be dictated, as far as I remember, by some certain aspect of his passive, but by the ability. Each one of his abilities is going to inflict Nemesis for a certain duration. So that's also a thing to keep in mind. Again, switches stances, and as we can see, we healed. The heal does not depend on the stacks that the enemies got or anything like that. And honestly, I'm pretty mad about it, because it would have been interesting to get more attack or more health depending on the Nemesis stacks that you have on the amount. But yeah, that's about it for the gameplay. Okay, so first of all, the this thing over here, I do like it for the most part. It's an interesting mechanic. What I don't like is that this does not have an animation that knocks the enemy down. Because, for example, you got Kinflint Sakumen passive that revives him, and after Kinflint Sakumen gets revived, the enemy is knocked down. Would love if this one would have a knockdown mechanic, because of the fact that it doesn't have a knockdown mechanic, the enemy is going to be able to engage a combo if you do this anywhere near them. And in a way, it kind of makes sense to back off and change your stance, but in another way it would be such a quality of life feature if you would knock the enemy down while using this. And you're basically using it to change between the stances, between the offensive stance and the defensive stance. And the thing, I mean, it's written over here pretty much, but you're only getting one of those: healing when you enter defensive stance, power generation when you enter offensive stance. You're not getting both of them each time you swap between the stances. So that's the thing about this one. And this thing is going to apply a few seconds of Nemesis. And this is going to be the tactical analysis, pretty much the Nemesis passive. This also ties into this thing. And you're going to get some stacks upon activating Super Move. Super garbage at level 1 passive. This thing is going to reflect some of the damage that's directed to you. Again, it's going to be far better at a higher level. But basically talking about this thing. So you're going to get a plus 4% for Hash's stats, and or minus 9% for the opponent's stats. So Assault Stance. Hash's attack, crit chance, crit damage, fast stack chance are increased against opponent with Nemesis mark, and defense, blocking, crit resist, and dot resist of the opponent are decreased. So because it's a percentage increase for Hash, I tend to believe that this will be able to overlap. I have no way of confirming this yet, but what I mean by overlap is it will be able to go over the cap that you can put yourself on the gears. Like you'll have 75% crit chance, and then it will go over the limit because of this, and the crit damage as well. And if this is a percentage of the stats that you already have, you might get a decent amount of crit damage actually from this thing, but this is being very optimistic. And the part where it reduces also the defensive stats of the enemy might be useful, though the sad part about it is not like it's a debuff applied to the enemy, it's a buff applied to Hash when hitting that enemy. If it was a debuff applied to the enemy, then I mean, it is in theory, but it doesn't act like that for other characters, because if it would, then you could use him as a support character to reduce the defenses and the dot defenses of some annoying bosses, but it's only going to be a Hash type of thing. So yeah, this thing definitely looks interesting, but at the same time we can only wait and see how good this is. My prediction is he'll just be an above average character, and there's no way he makes it in the top 6, maybe not even in the top 10 teams for Raids and Star Raids. But yeah, all that being said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!